Okay, so for the follow account today, the Dow ended slightly below 30,000. And I gained, even though the Dow was down, the market slightly by the Dow would have been considered down. I gained $207 today, bringing me to 11,748. Now, as you know, about a week ago, before Neo and Candy got hit by short sellers, I was up above $12,000, but I'm not really worried about being over 12. 12 to me is like, I feel that I should be at 12 or better. But the thing about it is Candy and Neo are slowly making their comeback. But what I also noticed, and by the way, before anybody asks, I use TD Ameritrade in order to do most of my stock trading, but I also have an E-Trade account. I keep getting the same exact question. Somebody always asks, what do I use to trade? I'm going to start just by saying TD Ameritrade. I say this every single time, and somebody finds it necessary to ask me what trading system I use. One of the reasons why I like using TD Ameritrade is because you can do a custom view of everything that's happening within your portfolio. So if I click right here on the settings button, I can edit the custom view and I can add and delete things. Like there's some people who are way better at day trading than I am, and they would be able to edit this to their liking. But I really like this because of that. One thing I don't like about things like Robinhood is Robinhood, in many cases, I've had friends who I'll be trying to get to trade something, and they'll say, oh, well, I don't see the dividend yield. And I'm like, why don't you see the dividend yield? And it just so happens in some cases, Robinhood doesn't show them certain things. It doesn't show them, in some cases, dividends. It also doesn't show them weed stocks, like marijuana stocks. So anyway, with a simple click of a button, I can see how much I gained, and I can also see what gained and where. So if I click day gain, I can see that, yeah, I lost. These were my minor losses. As you can see, Candy was down $54, but that's not a big deal because my gain overall on my Candy investment is still $302 because I bought in at 6.87 and the price went up to 8.38. The same thing goes for Ford. I was down $27. Big deal. I'm still up 382. So basically, when you're looking at the way I have it set up for my market portfolio, is basically if you look at the main things I'm looking at is my market value here, whatever I gained, and whatever happened during the day. So MCOA, that's a marijuana stock, was down. No, actually, no. Wait, okay. It was down $14, but it's still up $41. And that's on 20,000 shares. I actually have more shares of MCOA that I bought when it was cheaper, but I put this portfolio together as you know, if you've been following this portfolio, I put this together as an example of how to trade stocks so that this way when somebody's asking me, oh, well, what are the things I'm supposed to be looking at, I can just take this portfolio and I can just send them a share button and let them see it. Hemp was down $2.02, so I'm down $110 total on hemp, 10,000 shares. I'm not worried about it. I'm waiting for President Kamala Harris to take over and throw Donald Trump and his stupid, ridiculous, trash family out of the White House. And then once they legalize marijuana, it's like I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. So basically, if I look at my day gain, I was up $116 on S&M right here. In fact, just a minute ago, one of these things said 666, and I was going to look at that one. But I remember making a video, I think it was I Am an Oil Man. I actually made a video titled I Am an Oil Man. You can go back and look, where I told you to buy SM and Silica. And I got in $1.90, $1.48. The price now is $6.73, $6.95. So just to understand, because I don't really let anybody see some, like this portfolio I made specifically so you could follow it. What is this? Market value right now has gone up dramatically. I gained 483. I gained 546. If I were to sell out of these positions right now, which I'm not going to do, I would have made 546 and I would have made 483. If I wanted to, I could put the sell in order right now. There's a reason why I won't do that, and this is my philosophy. So right now I'm telling you the reason why I wouldn't sell, because some of you might say, hey, if I sold these two right here, I'd make $1,000. No, the reason why I'm not going to sell yet, or at least I should say the reason why I don't want to sell S&M, is because S&M right now, the price is 673, but its year high was actually $12.40. If I hold on to this, there's a possibility that that 673 could keep going up. Same goes for Silica. It has already hit its year high. That's the highest it's been for the year. The thing about it is this thing has been higher than $50. I've been looking at the really long term, beyond a year, and this has been much higher than that. Same goes for Citigroup. I told people, buy the banks, buy the banks. In the very beginning, March, I said, listen, all these stocks are down, buy into the banks because people have to have banks. My Citigroup stock that I'm showing you is 25 quantity. That's 25 shares bought at $43 per share. But right now, the price is $60. So if I sold right now, I'd have made $419 just off of Citi. And the reason why I'm not going to sell is because the high was $83.11. I believe that Citi can keep on going because the economy is continuing to, come back. CPE, if I'm not mistaken, that's an oil stock. FCAU, that's Chrysler. Again, my day gain was $16. FCA right now, Chrysler is basically at its year high. It closed at 1672, but its year high is 1680. So if I were to sell that right now, I'd have made $905 just off of Chrysler. I'm not going to sell right now because the simple fact that, if you're shorting if you bought in during March, right? Or if you managed to get into a stock when it was at its absolute lowest, short of some company threatening bankruptcy or something threatening to end the company as you know it, it kind of doesn't make sense to sell. Most of these companies are actually strong. Now, I've avoided a lot of, retail, because retail has been fickle. Unless you're buying Amazon, retail is fickle. A lot of these stores are in danger. A lot of these stores going out of business. A lot of the supply chains have been disrupted. So I pretty much stay away from those. If you look at the things that I buy, I specifically focus on oil/energy. I specifically focus on banks. And I specifically buy, as far as my penny stock, I specifically buy marijuana and I buy mining companies because mining companies usually are penny stock. But as long as they're mining something like gold or silver or something like that, generally they continue to go up. I haven't lost any money on any of those. So, MJNA marijuana, again, there was a jump in marijuana speculation because we know that we're getting rid of that moron Trump. So after he's gone and they sweep out the White House, all his stupid people, right now I've gained negative 240 on that. So I lost $2.40. But the thing about it is the market value has gone up. So right now, my market value is $209. This is not the only portfolio I have with marijuana. I just put 10,000 shares in there because it was only like 200. It was like 200 and something dollars or something like. Yeah, I think it was like $211. So basically, I lost $2.40. I'm not worried about $2.40. Besides, my top gainers have made me so much money right here, and I'm not worried about it. So as time goes on, I expect to see the shares in all my portfolios go up. So I'm not even interested in selling anything. I'm not planning on selling anything. But the reason why I did want to make this video was actually not just to do an update about the follow portfolio. The reason why I wanted to do this was to talk about Airbnb. So I got a call this morning. Somebody was like, oh, Airbnb's IPO, blah, blah, blah. It says Airbnb tops $100 on first day of trading. My problem with Airbnb is the exact same problem I have with the airlines, and it's the exact same problem I have with the cruise lines. Yes, I know there's value in Airbnb. Yes, I know that eventually it's going to come back, it's going to keep rising. But one thing you got to understand is right now, the people pumping money into Airbnb, these are mostly millennials, and you have a lot of, I'll say, boomers baby boomers and X, Generation X, baby boomers, and millennials. They're the ones who are putting their money towards these things. My problem with Airbnb is Airbnb has been losing money, obviously because of coronavirus, right? It says the company share skyrocketed on the first day of trading, rising 113% above the initial public offering at 68. So it's too bad you couldn't get in at 68. Close to close to 144. So it basically doubled, 68 to 144. So anybody who put their money in doubled their money. That put Airbnb's market cap at $100 billion, the largest in its generation of unicorn companies and more than Expedia Group. I personally use Expedia because I really love Expedia. And I have never actually used Airbnb. I've never actually used it as a service. The only thing I've really seen from it is the bad, like when somebody goes to Airbnb and all of a sudden somebody starts some shit and then they end up on, on the news. And I will say this really quickly. One thing you got to remember about Airbnb, Airbnb allows people to rent out their houses. A lot of these people have purposefully segregated themselves from other people, or other, I should say, types of people. Yeah, it's basically racism. So one of the reasons why you see a lot of these people popping up in the news where you have some quote unquote Karen following them around and calling them cops. Oh, you don't belong here. You're not supposed to be in the pool. You don't belong here. Oh, I just want to see your ID. Unfortunately, you're not able to simply just shoot people like that in the head and just keep on moving about your day. You're not really allowed to do that. But what I can say is one of the Airbnb's issues that I have never heard anybody else talk about except me, because I'm real news. These people are fake news. They try to avoid all the controversy and shit. I jump right into it. The thing about it is a lot of these people are renting their houses out and they're in segregated neighborhoods. And when these new people show up and nobody recognizes them, they start some shit and they call the cops. So Airbnb is always going to have some level of controversy attached to it. It's also going to have always threats of lawsuits attached to it. But see, Airbnb, their way of dealing with this is, okay, if we got a lawsuit, let's just pay it off. You know, like if somebody comes into your house, they rent your house, they screw up your basement or something or tear up the walls, they're interested in just paying it off, because this way you won't say anything bad about the company and you won't spread negative rumors. And even if they're true, you won't spread it. So Airbnb is anxious to knock down that criticism as quickly as they possibly can in order to protect themselves. As it mentions here, which I don't even have to read this, and I already know what it's going to say, a lot of the people who've been buying Airbnb is trading on Robinhood. So just by seeing that word, I basically already know what they're going to say. Robinhood, a stock trading app whose use has spiked in the pandemic, has also flooded the market with millions of day traders. Most of the people who are buying into Tesla, Apple, they did so during the stock split. They thought they were going to flip their money. If they bought into Tesla, they did. If they bought into Apple and they did it early enough, yes, they did. But most of these people are coming from Robinhood. As you see, I don't trade off of Robinhood. I do E-Trade and I do TD Ameritrade. Okay, so as far as Airbnb is going, Airbnb started off, they hit the ground running. But once again, my problem with Airbnb remains the same. Airbnb has been losing money all year. They claim that they're learning more and coronavirus is teaching them how to do better. But the reality is that until travel comes back, Airbnb has the exact same problems that cruise lines and the airlines do. Now, I told you a long time ago about the cruise lines, about the same time I did about the airlines. Let's look at the airlines. Right now, what is it? JetBlue. I told you to buy JetBlue back when it was like $9 or $10. So right now it's up to $15, but it's pretty much paused at $15. A lot of the airlines that did give dividends, they've canceled out their dividend yield. Either that or they've reduced their dividend yield. So in my opinion, it doesn't even make sense to store money in the airlines. So the thing about it is, once Warren Buffett pulled his money out, everybody else short sold as much as they could. And only now is it starting to come back. And that's despite the fact that Trump's on his way out economy and on his way out administration, they don't give a fuck about any of us, so they're not passing any more stimulus checks. The stimulus checks were what were keeping these things up high. Now, remember when I kept telling you about buying Boeing and I was calling it Lockheed Light? Boeing has been up and down, but the thing about it is Boeing is going to be here a very long time because it's still military industrial complex. Boeing ain't going nowhere. United Airlines, I told you about United Airlines. Get it while it was low. United Airlines is $50. Its high was $90. Before coronavirus, it was at $90. So the problem that I have, once again, is the fact that if you were able to get into the airlines back when I told you to, you bought in when it was dirt cheap. The problem is, as it started going up, it got more expensive to buy in. And then once people started short selling out of it, at that point, to me, it made no sense to try to get into airlines. Not when there's so many other possible places to put your money. I personally doubled down on oil, energy, and big tech. And when I say big tech, who am I talking about? Well, you already know. I told you to buy Logitech. I'm never gonna stop saying this. I told you to buy Logitech. I told you to buy AMD when these things were less than $50. They are 89 and 91. You could have doubled, even if you had taken all your, and which is something I never do because I like to diversify. Even if you had taken all your money and put it just into AMD, you would have doubled your money. It would have been $91.60. And you would have gotten in way back and you'd have been up. Same thing goes for Apple. Same thing goes for Microsoft. Zoom, I noticed, has been falling considerably ever since it hit its high at 588. Very disappointed in Zoom. But the thing about it is, Zoom is contingent on people working from home, which is something that they're trying to stop because they want everybody to go back to, work and school. So ultimately, that ride was going to end anyway. I told you to buy GM back when it was $20-something, and right now you're riding so high, $42. As you know, yes, I went long on Fiat Chrysler. I went long on Ford. I don't even think I put them here in this part of the list. But I told you to get into Candy and Neo. I thought things were looking up for them, and I still think things are looking up for them. I'm not selling my Candy. I'm not selling my Neo. It's going to keep going up. It's going to take some time. Once we get Trump's stupid ass out of the White House and we get President Joe Biden in there and President Kamala Lock-em-up Harris, the Chinese stocks are going to be right back on a roll. Because the thing about it is this protectionism, racist nonsense that they're doing, it just makes no damn sense. And it's ruining everything, especially for me. And I can't have that. So when Trump fucked with my money, it was time to go. And that's it. You don't mess with my money. You mess with my money, you better run and hide. So anyway, what else is here? Okay, so other than that, the weed stocks, yeah, those are all penny stocks. Hopefully you got into those when they were nice and low before they start going up. But they're going to keep going up. I'm not worried. I tell you this, when I'm doing these update videos in, I'll say, what is it? Let's say March, 3 months from now, a little more than 3 months from now. When I'm doing these update videos in 3 months from now, I'm going to be looking back and saying, I told you not to worry. I told you not to worry. The economy is moving forward. A lot of the risk has already been priced in. And even with the number of things that have been down, we're still at Dow 30,000. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to say this again because I had to say this before for you Trump sycophants, and I don't give a goddamn about. But anyway, as far as the history of the Dow Jones, it didn't matter who the president was. It didn't matter. The simple fact of the matter is the Dow Jones and the economy have nothing to do with the president at all. And here's a list to show my point. Oh, perfect. This is the one I was looking for. The bottom line, and I'm going to end with this. The bottom line is, from the very beginning of the Dow Jones, it has done nothing but trend up. Now, again, I say trend up. Yeah, it goes down a couple of points every now and then, but it has done nothing but trend up. Even with Nixon and his impeachment or his attempted impeachment and him leaving office, it still trended up. Even with Bush and his disastrous collapse right there, it still trended up. The thing that you have to remember is the Dow Jones has nothing to do with who's president. You know who controls the Dow Jones? Take a guess. You know who controls the Dow Jones? It is called the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve controls the Dow Jones. They have been printing money, and by printing money, they are expanding the money supply. And by expanding the money supply, what are they doing? They are causing inflation. The Federal Reserve is trying to fight inflation with inflation. And what does that mean to you? Because most people don't understand what it does. Well, let's see what it means. What it means is that we're going deeper into debt. And you can do it yourself and check the national debt clock. And when you go onto the U.S. national debt clock, what you will see is the fact that they don't talk about it anymore because the fake news doesn't talk about it anymore. But we're going deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. So every few seconds, we're spending close to $60,000 per second. We are $27 trillion in debt, and we're going to keep on going right to $30 trillion in debt. And I want you to keep something in mind. Your dear, glorious President Trump, what he could have done with that money that he gave to all his corporate buddies that pumped up the economy during the time and pumped up the Dow Jones number, if he really wanted us to stay home and to let this coronavirus thing subside or to bring down the spread, right? For the amount of money, $2.2 trillion, they could have they could have given every single American household $20,000 for us to sit out a couple of months. Did they do that? Fuck no. What did they do? They handed us less than $300 million, and they took all the rest of that money and gave it to the big banks and the big corporations. That's how much they give a fuck about you. And not only that, he's still out there trying to lie and say that he's got a chance and a path to the White House so he can raise money and everything. And there's people out there who are really stupid enough to keep on sending them money. But guess what? 14th Amendment under the Constitution, contracts, that allows you to send them as much money as you want. If you want to send them all your money, go right on ahead. But when he skips town like the good New York City grifter I know he is, shame on you. And if he leaves you bankrupt and out on the street, good for you. Good for you. So just remember, pack a tent and make sure you have some wood so you can use it to heat your food while you're sleeping on the sidewalk. So what is this? And by the way, another thing, I am not a Democrat at all. I'm not a liberal. I don't want to see student loan debt passed at all because I'm a fiscally conservative Republican. We are at $1.7 trillion on student loan debt so that you could allow your kid to sign up for some loan to go to some party school so that they could drink, smoke, and have unprotected sex away from you and your prying eyes, and they could chill, and then they could pay the dorm tuition. And the tuition costs one thing, but the dorm fees cost more than the tuition. So here they are chilling up at their Holiday Inn school, getting a useless liberal arts degree in animal husbandry or in they actually have like women's studies classes. Like I mean, you got to be kidding me. Really? You could learn more about women's studies following Kevin Samuel, because he knows more about women's studies than I think anybody does. What is his name? Kevin Samuels. Yes. That guy, you don't have... Well, is it Kevin Samuels? Yeah, he's on YouTube. But anyway, bottom line is, not to digress, the thing about it is Federal Reserve is pumping up our debt. It's causing inflation. It's causing your money to go less far than it should go. And it doesn't really matter who's president. This number is going to keep on rising because the Federal Reserve is going to keep on printing out money.